moving. Wealth is gonna come from us. Our reparations will come from us.
Yep.
We will create that reparations deal. All right, good. All right, so I see some IMs. I see a lot of yeses. That's what I'm talking about. Very good, very good. First step to becoming a millionaire is to act like one, and millionaires invest. So let me ask. Let me just start off with this then. So my brother, what do you, when you heard what I just said, that I said that I want all of our people invested, I want all of our people involved in the stock market. Do you agree with that statement, and why?
I think the stock market should be the foundation to all our wealth. It's the lowest barrier entry, when it comes to investing. I think, real estate is good, and you have so many different vehicles. For me, the stock market is important because the system has trained us to be consumers first, right? So the system trained us to be consumers first. So what happens is the easiest way for us to switch that idea, the easiest way for us to switch that mindset is to start owning the businesses that we consume with. Right. So now that's us playing offense instead of being defense. The stock market gives us that leverage early in the game, whether it's buying a company like AT&T for $29, right? If it's buying you a company like McDonald's for $200. Just saying, the places that we can go to early and often are places we can start at. And so next thing, it becomes this compound interest, the interest that your interest makes. No other asset vehicle compounds like the stock market, right? So for us, when you think about wealth building, and I want to add on to something you said the first step to becoming a billionaire is to act like one. I would say the first step is to start thinking like one, right? Mm-hmm. Start understanding that, I'm going to be a millionaire, right? It may not be right now, but in the future, that's my future. That's why I'll be it. And I think when we look at the stock market, this is something I've studied. The wealthiest people in the world, if you look at the top 5, 10 wealthiest people, literally 60 to 70% of their wealth is in stocks.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
We don't follow the blueprint, is already right there for us.
Yeah, well, I love that, man. I'm glad you started there, because you're right. The stock market, investing in the stock market is the number one factor that determines the wealth difference between the middle class and the rich people. Yeah. And so that's an excellent point that you make. And you're right. Thinking like a millionaire mindset, money mindset. Let's start with this because I want to ask you more stuff about the financial stuff, but I want to let's start with you. Mm-hmm. You have done great things in the world of Black wealth. That's how I see it. Now I know you're not just talking to Black people, but right. We all Black around here, right? And I know you get that. And you also had a unique background in terms of how you got involved in the stock market. When did the light switch hit for you? Because I saw a picture of you. I think you were on a pole, like you had climbed up and something. You were real high in the air, right? Years before. Tell us about that, and also talk about your journey in terms of how you really got into investing.
Cool. That's important. So, I'm from New Orleans, born and raised. Actually, just moved. So, just early on, I just was in the streets early, and I'm not just mean that like figurative, like literally. So my mom was in the street. She was a hustler. She did everything, and I actually saw my mom get shot when I was 9. So I was in it firsthand. Maybe 16, I went to prison for attempt murder on robbery. I wound up doing 10 years in prison, and that's where I got introduced to it at. I got in a fight with a couple homies of mine, and I wound up going to solitary confinement. It's crazy because I was literally in a cell with a white guy, and I guess he was just perplexed about the whole idea of seeing so many Black men in one situation. And so I wound up getting in a cell with him, and he was just like, man, look, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I hope you don't take this wrong. He was like, man, y'all just playing the wrong game. And you never know the conversation he had in his mind to make him see that, because in solitary confinement, it's kind of like where I was at. I was in Orleans Parish Prison, and the tier is called C1, so it's like 14 cells, 4 men in a cell, and we locked down all day. So you just hear a bunch of noise, and probably him, it just looked like chaos, more chaos and confusion. And I was like, man, you think what you talking about? The wrong game? Like, you think this a game? It's not a game right here. You know what I'm saying? It's real life. And I was like, and furthermore, like, if we playing the wrong game, you ain't here with me. So how I'm playing the wrong game? And so he told me something that was real profound. And that was really the seed that planted it to me. And he was just like, the issue is that you don't even know it's a game. Like, I know it's a game. So he was in prison. He did 18 months for embezzlement. He embezzled 2.8 million. He paid restitution 800,000, kept 2 million. So he's coming home to 2 million. I was in there for attempt murder. I'm doing 10 years. I know people's in there for drug charges, doing life. You know, just outland the numbers that you see on TV and hear about in these books. I'm sleeping next to these dudes every day. And it made me look like, damn, like, that's real. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just knocked me upside my head. And at a young age, I was, you know, he caught my attention. And so we just started having conversations all the time. And so over the next, I think, 22 days, he started telling me things. And one of the things he told me, he was like, wealthy people do 3 things, man. They stop trading time for money. They start making their money work for them. And they give an immense amount of value to people, because relationships are worth more than money. You give people so much value to where they'll always keep you in everything that they do. And I'm telling you, when he told me that, my mind, it was like, what? I had never heard nothing like that in my life. And it just took me for, you know, it took me on. And so again, we just kept talking, having conversation. And then I'm talking about hours of conversation. We in a cell, we ain't got nothing else to do. And then another thing he told me was the 3 things that wealthy people do to build wealth and keep wealth is they invest in stocks, they build a business, and then they invest in real estate. And so because he told me stocks first, that was the first thing I ran with, because again, we talk in 1999 here, this before Instagram, Facebook, all of that. He's literally showing me pictures, Kodak pictures of him in different countries, doing different things with his family in places that I never knew existed. And one of the places that caught my mind, I always say on anything I do, he was in Iceland in this spot called the Blue Lagoon. And I remember them being outside in a pond with steam coming up, and there was water in the background. And I was like, where the hell in the world are there mountains where you outside in a pool, in a lake, and it's hot? And he was like, man, this is what wealth do for you. You can travel the world wherever you want to go, and you don't got to worry about ever coming back to work or none of that. And so because he told me stocks first, I spent the rest of my time in prison learning about stocks, the rest of it.
Wow. That's powerful, man. That's a powerful story. Well, everybody who just came in, I'm speaking with my brother Leon, aka the Wall Street Trapper, Leon Howard, and we're talking about a lot of stuff, and we're gonna get to a lot of things. But and I'll tell you, I'm so excited to talk to you, man. That I am my brain is spinning on all these things I want to ask you about, because your story is definitely interesting. I think a lot of people need to hear it, and you're right. A lot of our greatest Black men, like anybody, I don't know, yes or no, give me a yes or no in the chat if you have anybody in your family that's locked up now or has been locked up. Say their name also. Say their name, because a lot of times they want you to forget these guys exist. Mm-hmm. And you got some of your smartest, most brilliant, most capable warriors that are locked up, and it's not coincidental. It's not an accident. Say their name in the chat so that we can make sure that we let them know that we remember them. And I fortunately didn't have to go, but I mean, you know, you talk about just the chess you have to play as a Black man to be successful and to survive is insane. You know, because my best friend, when I was about 25, my best friend, the day after I went to go see him, actually, he got shot in the head and killed in front of his daughter. And then also my father went to prison. My uncle went to prison. My little brother went to prison. So prison was everywhere. Prison spread worse than coronavirus, in terms of what they were really trying to do to take our people down. And I want to ask you this, man. One thing I've read about is that the prisons in Louisiana are worse than the ones all around the United States. From what I've gathered, Louisiana, Texas, the slave states, they have the most Black prison inmates, and they have the worst conditions. Can you talk about? I don't want to dig too deep in that, but because I don't want that to be uncomfortable for you. But tell us about that, and how did you survive that, and how did you heal from that?